Welcome to the fascinating world of microeconomics. In this video, we'll explore the basic principles that form the foundation of this field. Microeconomics focuses on how individuals and businesses make decisions about allocating limited resources. These choices impact everything from the price of your morning coffee to the wages you earn. By understanding microeconomics, you'll gain insight into the forces that shape our everyday lives. Let's start by looking at what microeconomics really means and why it's so important in understanding the world around us. Microeconomics is the branch of economics that studies the behavior of individuals and firms in making decisions regarding the allocation of scarce resources. It examines how these decisions and behaviors affect the supply and demand for goods and services, which ultimately determines prices. Unlike macroeconomics, which looks at the economy as a whole, microeconomics zooms in on the smaller units that make up the economic system. This focus helps us understand the motivations behind consumer choices and business strategies. Scarcity is a fundamental concept in microeconomics. It refers to the basic problem that resources are limited, while human wants are virtually unlimited. Because of scarcity, individuals and societies must make choices about how to use their resources most effectively. This constant balancing act is at the heart of economics. Whether it's time, money, or raw materials, scarcity forces us to prioritize and make decisions that have real consequences. Humans have endless desires, but the resources available to fulfill those desires are always limited. This creates a situation where choices must be made. For example, you might want to buy a new phone, go on vacation, and save for the future, but your income may not allow you to do all three. This tension between unlimited wants and limited resources is what drives economic decision-making at every level. Every choice we make comes with an opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the value of the next best alternative that you give up when you make a decision. For instance, if you spend your evening studying instead of going out with friends, the opportunity cost is the enjoyment you miss. Understanding opportunity cost helps us make better decisions by considering what we must sacrifice when we choose one option over another. Trade-offs are a part of everyday life. Whenever you choose one thing over another, you're making a trade-off. For example, spending money on a concert ticket means you can't use that money to buy a new book. Recognizing trade-offs helps us understand the real cost of our decisions and encourages us to think more carefully about how we use our resources. Economic problem arises because resources are scarce, but wants are unlimited. This problem forces individuals, businesses, and governments to make choices about how to allocate resources efficiently. The economic problem is the driving force behind all economic activity and decision-making. By understanding this, we can better appreciate why economics is such a vital field of study. Every society must answer three basic economic questions: what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce. These questions help determine how resources are allocated and who benefits from economic activity. The answers vary depending on the values, resources, and priorities of each society. Understanding these questions is key to grasping how different economic systems function. Produce goods and services. Economies use resources known as factors of production. These include land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Land refers to natural resources, labor is human effort, capital includes tools and machinery, and entrepreneurship is the drive to innovate and organize production. Each factor plays a crucial role in the economic process. Land is one of the primary factors of production. It includes all natural resources used to produce goods and services, such as minerals, water, and forests. The availability and quality of land can greatly influence what an economy is able to produce. Efficient use of land resources is essential for sustainable economic growth. Labor refers to the human effort, both physical and mental, used in the production of goods and services. The skills, education, and motivation of workers can significantly impact productivity and economic growth. Investing in education and training helps improve the quality of labor, leading to better outcomes for individuals and society. Capital includes all man-made resources used in production, such as machinery, buildings, and tools. Capital increases the efficiency of production and allows economies to produce more goods and services. Investing in capital goods is essential for long-term economic growth and development. Entrepreneurship is the drive to combine land, labor, and capital to create new products and services. Entrepreneurs take risks and innovate, playing a vital role in economic development. Their vision and leadership help bring new ideas to market and create jobs, fueling economic progress. Scarcity forces individuals, businesses, and governments to make tough choices. Because resources are limited, every decision involves weighing costs and benefits. This process of making choices under scarcity is central to microeconomics and helps explain why different people and societies make different decisions. Utility is a key concept in microeconomics. It refers to the satisfaction or benefit that a person receives from consuming a good or service. People make choices to maximize their utility, seeking the greatest possible satisfaction from their limited resources. Understanding utility helps explain consumer behavior and market demand. Marginal analysis involves examining the additional benefits and costs of a decision. For example, if you're deciding whether to study one more hour, you weigh the extra benefit of a higher grade against the cost of less free time. Marginal analysis helps individuals and businesses make more informed choices by focusing on the impact of small changes. In microeconomics, it's assumed that individuals make rational decisions. This means they systematically weigh the costs and benefits of each option and choose the one that maximizes their utility. While real-life decisions aren't always perfectly rational, this assumption helps economists model and predict behavior. Markets are where buyers and sellers come together to exchange goods and services. Prices are determined by the interaction of supply and demand in these markets. Understanding how markets work is essential for grasping the basics of microeconomics as they coordinate the allocation of scarce resources. Supply refers to how much of a good or service producers are willing to offer at different prices, while demand is how much consumers are willing to buy. The interaction of supply and demand determines the market price and quantity of goods sold. This basic model is central to microeconomic analysis. The law of demand states that, all else equal, as the price of a good increases, the quantity demanded decreases. Conversely, as the price falls, demand rises. This inverse relationship helps explain why sales often increase during discounts or promotions. The law of supply states that, all else equal, as the price of a good increases, producers are willing to supply more of it. When prices fall, the quantity supplied decreases. This direct relationship is key to understanding how markets respond to changing conditions. Market equilibrium occurs when the quantity supplied equals the quantity demanded at a certain price. At this point, there is no shortage or surplus and the market is considered balanced. Understanding equilibrium helps explain how prices are set and why they change. Demand can shift due to changes in income, tastes, prices of related goods, or expectations about the future. When demand increases, the demand curve shifts right, leading to higher prices and quantities. When demand decreases, the curve shifts left, resulting in lower prices and quantities. Supply can shift due to changes in production costs, technology, or the number of sellers. An increase in supply shifts the supply curve right, lowering prices and increasing quantity. A decrease shifts it left, raising prices and reducing quantity. These shifts help explain why markets are always changing. Elasticity measures how much quantity demanded or supplied responds to changes in price. If demand is elastic, a small price change leads to a big change in quantity. If it's inelastic, quantity changes little. Elasticity helps businesses and policymakers predict the effects of price changes. Consumer surplus is the difference between what consumers are willing to pay for a good and what they actually pay. It represents the extra benefit consumers receive from market transactions. High consumer surplus means buyers are getting a great deal. Producer surplus is the difference between the price producers receive for a good and the minimum amount they are willing to accept. It reflects the extra benefit sellers gain from market transactions. High producer surplus indicates that sellers are earning more than their minimum acceptable price. Incentives are rewards or penalties that influence behavior. In microeconomics, incentives play a crucial role in shaping the choices of consumers and producers. For example, higher prices can encourage producers to supply more, while discounts can attract more buyers. Sometimes, markets fail to allocate resources efficiently. Market failures can occur due to externalities, public goods, or imperfect information. When markets fail, government intervention may be necessary to correct the problem and improve outcomes. Externalities are side effects of economic activity that affect people who are not directly involved in the transaction. For example, pollution from a factory can impact the health of nearby residents. Externalities can be positive or negative and often require government action to address. Public goods are goods that are non-excludable and non-rivalrous, meaning everyone can use them and one person's use doesn't reduce availability for others. Examples include street lighting and national defense. Because markets may underprovide public goods, governments often step in to supply them. Imperfect information occurs when buyers or sellers lack all the information needed to make the best decision. This can lead to poor choices and market inefficiencies. For example, if a buyer doesn't know a car has hidden problems, they might pay too much. Addressing imperfect information can improve market outcomes. Governments play an important role in microeconomics by enforcing property rights, regulating markets, and providing public goods. They also intervene to correct market failures and promote economic stability. Understanding the government's role helps explain why markets don't always operate perfectly on their own. Market structures describe the competitive environment in which businesses operate. The main types are perfect competition, monopolistic competition, oligopoly, and monopoly. Each structure has unique characteristics that affect pricing, output, and consumer choice. In perfect competition, many small firms sell identical products and no single firm can influence the market price. This structure leads to efficient outcomes, as prices reflect the true cost of production and resources are allocated optimally. Monopolistic competition features many firms selling similar but not identical products. Each firm has some control over its prices due to product differentiation. This structure is common in industries like restaurants and clothing, where variety and branding matter. An oligopoly is a market structure dominated by a few large firms. These firms may compete or cooperate, and their decisions can have a big impact on prices and market outcomes. Examples include the automobile and airline industries. A monopoly exists when a single firm controls the entire market for a product or service. This firm can set prices without competition, which can lead to higher prices and less choice for consumers. Governments often regulate monopolies to protect consumers. Consumer choice theory examines how individuals decide what to buy given their limited resources. It considers preferences, budget constraints, and the prices of goods. This theory helps explain patterns in consumer behavior and market demand. A budget constraint represents the combinations of goods and services a consumer can afford given their income and the prices of goods. It forces consumers to make choices and prioritize their spending, highlighting the importance of trade-offs in decision-making. Indifference curves show combinations of goods that provide the same level of satisfaction to a consumer. They help illustrate consumer preferences and how people make choices between different products. Understanding indifference curves is key to analyzing consumer behavior. The Production Possibilities Frontier (PPF) shows the maximum combinations of goods and services that can be produced with available resources. It illustrates the concept of opportunity cost and the trade-offs involved in production decisions. Specialization occurs when individuals or businesses focus on producing what they do best. Trade allows people to exchange goods and services, leading to greater overall efficiency and higher standards of living. Specialization and trade are key drivers of economic growth. We've covered the fundamentals of microeconomics, including scarcity, opportunity cost, supply and demand, market structures, and consumer choice. Understanding these concepts helps us make better decisions and appreciate the complexity of the economic world. Microeconomics provides valuable tools for analyzing how individuals and businesses interact in markets. As you continue your study of economics, keep these foundational ideas in mind. The principles of microeconomics will help you understand more advanced topics and real-world economic issues. Stay curious and keep exploring how scarcity and choices shape our world.